Raise your hand if you have seen that look in the doctor's eyes that you don't like to see. Yeah, could have been for you, could have been for your daughter. That's a really scary, scary look. I saw that look in about 2002. I had had some lesions inside my mouth. I had ulcers in my mouth, and I thought I was allergic to my toothpaste. And then they started happening in my eyelids, and I wasn't brushing my eyeballs, so I knew something was up. We could not figure it out. And finally, there I am at UCSF. Here I am sitting there on the bed with this parade of doctors coming through to poke me and prod me and look inside my mouth and everything, because I'm on my way into the danger zone with this thing called Stevens-Johnson syndrome. Just so you know, it's lesions in your mouth, lesions in all your mucous membranes. I mean, I think a lot of you are doctors. I mean all your mucous membrane. It's really painful and it's really awful. Then you get these little red dots on your skin. I guess the end game is those dots connect, your skin sloughs off, and you go blind and die in the burn unit. So that's what they were thinking as they were looking at me. And I didn't know exactly what they were thinking, but I knew something was definitely not cool over there as they looked at me and showed me to everybody that was on the floor that happened to be there. Oh, hey, look, this is, you want to see what this looks like? It's kind of rare. What had happened just before that is I had an $80 million .com company. I actually said out of my mouth, I'm putting my soul on the line with this one. We're going to make this work. And I gave everything I had to it. I slept for 3, maybe 5 hours a night for about 3 years. We were called bigwords.com. We were going to get textbooks to students cheaper than the bookstore. We ran around in these orange jumpsuits. We were having a great time. But I was definitely burning the candle at both ends, and I was all in. So when the market tanked and our funders said, oh, we're going to pull the plug on you, and we declared bankruptcy and massive failure, and 300-400 people lost their jobs that had all believed in me. It was really, really hard. And I went in a corner and I cried about it for a while. And I just licked my wounds. And I'm pretty sure that lack of sleep that we've been hearing about all night tonight and the stress of that event are what brought on the Stevens-Johnson episode. So I still have some issues with that. I still get some symptoms. I think it's mostly something that builds up in my bloodstream if I don't get enough sleep. Seems to be that's what causes this systemic allergic reaction. And that's why Flash follows me around all over. He gives me a warning before I know if something's going to come on. So I can, usually what works if we get it early enough, I just go to sleep, which is pretty nice. But here's the thing that was really tough for me is I was in the tech industry. So there's no way that I wanted anybody to know about what had happened to me, because all of a sudden I went from 3 to 5 hours a night to needing 12 to 14 hours a night. Otherwise, I would start to have massive, serious, go back to the emergency room problems. And in the tech industry, you need to sleep 14 hours a night? I'm sorry, you're not getting a job. So I was extremely covert. I felt tremendously alone. I want to tell you what got me out of this. The big thing that got me out of this is that I realized something as I was looking at how was I going to live my life this way for the rest of my life, because I thought that was going to be it. I was kind of like, okay, well, I could just pretend I died and then everything that I have left over is pretty good, And that was the first step to getting that going into my business. I had the context of my life of you get a few chances at success. You only get a few chances. Opportunity only knocks once. You've heard that, yeah? And so in the context of opportunity knocks once, you only get a few shots at success, an $80 million failure is pretty big. That filled up pretty much my entire context for my life. But what I got as I started pulling out of my depression and started looking at what I was going to do with the rest of my life is that actually that's not the context of my life that I wanted to live in. I saw that the context of my life was actually something much bigger. I'm here to make a difference. That's it. Very simple. That's the context of my life. I'm here to make a difference. You want me to carry water and chop wood, clean the bathroom? I don't care. I'm here to make a difference. And in the context that big, an $80 million failure is not going to stop me. There's no way that's going to stop. I'm here to make a difference, right? Now, the cool thing about that kind of a context is that success isn't going to stop me either. If I do something really well, I have some big success, well, guess what? I'm going to keep going because I'm here to make a difference. That's right. So that was an enormous breakthrough for me. A couple of things that came along with that were that I started, I had to, but I started sleeping and not really resisting it. I just started sleeping 12 to 14 hours a night. And guess what? I felt a lot better. I was much more clear-headed, and I've been studying sleep since then quite a bit. And I'll tell you, the most successful people in the world, they all swear by getting about 8 hours of sleep a night because they want to be sharp. So this whole thing that we have of, oh yeah, I only got 6 hours of sleep last night, oh yeah, well I got 5. It's like, that's a really dumb game to play. I was good at that game, bad game to play. The other thing that I started to do is something that I'm starting to see a lot about, and I think there are a lot of apps in the health arena for this. I'm using Calm right now. Meditate. I started meditating. So sleeping enough, meditating, and getting a great context for my life completely changed my life. So I want to leave you all with something out of my personal experience, because I'm the patient here. I can't even pretend that I'm on your side, really. I'm the guy who shows up with the big lesions and the dots on my arm that you're worried about, that you're trying to save. And here's what I've got for you. First of all, listening to the people who represent you tonight speak, because I think that's what we saw in here, was a representation of who's actually in here. You're the people that are out there to make a difference. Every single person who spoke today has a personal story, a personal reason why you're doing what you're doing. And everybody who didn't speak today, you've got that too. I call it your superhero origin story, by the way. Go back to why you chose to do what you do. There's a reason you're here instead of someplace else doing something else. That's your superhero origin story. It's not just for Peter Parker anymore. So you all have a reason and a belief in something that you're passionate about that's bigger than yourself. And that's a phenomenal room full of people to be with. And I want to share a story and give you another angle on that for yourselves. Very quick story about a guy named Itzhak Perlman. And it may be apocryphal, but it doesn't matter. It's a great story. Great violin player. Anybody know? Yeah, like concert violinist, Itzhak Perlman. So one night, after the concert, he was meeting fans, and this woman came up to him, the story is, and she said, Itzhak, I just love how you play. It's so gorgeous. It's like butter. I'd give my life to play like you. And the story is, he drew himself up a little, and he said, well, madam, I did. And the fact of the matter is, he did. You don't play the violin like that unless you give your life to it. Here's the thing I'd really like you to consider, though. You are giving your life to something, too. Really easy to tell what that is, by the way. Just look at where you spend your money and your time. That's what you're giving your life to. Now, the first question is it worth giving your life to that? I think in this room, the answer for most people is going to be yeah. You're on a path that's worth giving your life to. If you're not, change paths. But if you are, here's the big thing, and I work with people that are at the top of their game all over the world, all the time, day in and day out. And here's something that I know will make a difference for you because it's made a difference for so many of them. You are giving your life to this. Let that in. Really own that. What you're doing is giving your life to something, and when you give your life to something like that, people want to hear about it from you. They want you to share it with them. It's not selfish for you to talk about this. It's making a difference. Go out there, make it interesting for people, make it exciting for people, but share what it is you're giving your life to, because you are the people who are making this difference. And the final thing I'll say is the people in this room have leverage like very few rooms that I've met. You all have leverage on a scale that really mandates you do this. You know, the difference you can make with that leverage and your story. Please go share your story. Be really clear that you're giving your life to this, and look at what's your context. What's the context for your life? I suspect that probably a lot of you could just steal mine and that would be fine. I'm here to make a difference. It's really been a pleasure to spend this evening with you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, John. Thank you.